Guys, give me one more second. You guys can.
You can take photos, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Oh, see? First one to get kicked out the room. Jesus.
That wasn't me, Mr. Butkus.
Yeah,
I hope you know that.
What time is it?
She's got to like start over.
11:38.
You guys. Is that Matt? Eight McMuffin.
It's that burrito you had at that vending machine.
Yeah, right.
The sushi burrito.
Yeah. Sushi burrito. That's been in there for a month. Right.
Did I hear what I thought I heard? Oh my gosh.
Holy.
So.
Okay. They should just traveling with you guys. It's bullshit. Oh, okay.
Hi, everyone. I am Kandi Conda, Hall of Famer, CEO of Life After Sports, and the social media director for the Walter Payton Scholarship Classic, Golf Classic, that is coming up here in lovely Las Vegas, August 21st and 22nd. It's going to be at the South Shore the South Shore Cultural Center, Golf Center. Sorry, I want to be in Chicago and have it at the South Shore Cultural Center. Everyone is going to kill me. My Chicago people will understand. But yes, we call it the Lakes Las Vegas here in Las Vegas, and it is one of the premier golf courses here, and we can't wait. It is beautiful. They have lakes there. They have, I've been told, some of the most exceptional amenities there. And we actually, if you guys get a chance, go on our Walter Payton page and check out our interview with South Shore Country Club, and they will go over everything that they can, because of course it is a private club now, but let me tell you, it is in the top 3. So that's what we've been told, that it's in the top 3 in the Las Vegas area. So today we have the pleasure of talking to Mr. Dick Butkus. So I'm from Chicago, so I'm like excited. I don't know about anyone else. So of course, your name is legendary in Chicago.
Just relax.
Don't make me nervous. Don't make you nervous? Okay, I can't help it. So, but here's what's so funny. I talked to my dad yesterday, and I told him that I was going to be speaking with you. And he said, oh my God, he says, he's one of the best middle guys that were ever out there in the game. And I says, wow. He says, no one has ever surpassed him. So my father, old time Bears fan, and my cousin, he says, you were the best.
Well, tell him thank you. It's always good to hear that, people enjoyed the way I played. So tell him thanks, and thanks for being a fan. And as always, go Bears. Man.
Go Bears, that's right. So I wanted to ask a couple Bears questions here. So you're in the top 10. I was looking at some videos, and you're like one of the top 10 players of all times. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's quite an honor, and I think that was when they, in the celebration of the 100 years in the NFL, and they came out with 100 greatest players, and I happened to be in the top 10, which, to me, it's just, it's very satisfying, because it was a lifelong dream to play football, not to get the honors, so that comes from it. It's just, since I've been a kid, 9 years old, I really was into football. And, maybe today, the kids are all, oh yeah, I want to be a football player, blah, blah, blah. And it's mostly from all the exposure they get, and they see what happens when you get that exposure. You become these big stars and everything else. But I never had any of that, and I was just true blue. I was just
You played the game because
freak.
You loved it.
Yep.
And it's interesting, because my cousin told me to ask you. He says, ask him, does he think the players are too soft? He says, back in the day, they played with injuries, and he says now, he's like, they get one little Band-Aid and they're out for 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, you ask any player from my era, and they'll all say the same thing about them. It's gotten to be so much of a business now. You know what I mean? It's these players got their agents and their PR people, and it all depends on how you do on the field. And if you get hurt, as it is, I think nobody gets through a season if you're worth a damn. I don't think anybody ends up at the end of the season not having a problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not bad enough to keep you out of the game, but they end up with something. So quarterbacks, of course, make the game, for TV and everything else. So they have to be protected, and that's where I think a lot of people say, well, you can't hit the quarterback and all that stuff. But it's dollar signs that drives all this stuff. I mean, now surely I can get 10 guys that I played with in my era, and we would all agree that we could probably play 30 years the way they play today. Because, you're not allowed to wear pads a certain day, and you only can have a couple hours out of there. And I got my food guy that gives me a diet, and Jesus, I don't know if they have
still be playing, huh?
wiping for you for crying out loud. So,
when you think of the Bears, what do you think is maybe one of the most memorable moments if you had to choose one or two when you just think back?
well, playing wise, I don't know. We never got in the playoffs. It's everybody equates. Oh, you got to get to the Super Bowl to be worth a damn. And I don't know. We just had a group of guys that really fought, and it was unfortunate that we didn't have a very good offense, other than maybe Gale Sayers.
I was going to ask you, and I think he passed away 2 years ago,
Yes,
and
he did. Yes, he did.
you played with him, correct?
We both came in together, and speaking of Gale and Walter, it's always a question to me. Well, who do you think? Who do you think's the best? I'm kind of a guy that goes through longevity. Walter played for a long time, and I got to watch him pretty closely that '85 year when I was doing radio for the Bears. And I played with Gale, and I practiced against Gale. And, so they each had their attributes. I don't want to get in a contest and say, well, this guy was better than the other guy.
Sure.
They were both tremendous players. I mean, Gale helped me become the player I did because I had to practice against him. And back then, we scrimmaged all the time, not like today. So I was virtually, playing against him a lot in practice. And I just figured, if I can stop this guy, I might have some luck at getting anybody else in the league because no one's going to touch this guy.
Right.
So, and I think the same thing was going on with Payton. I love the way Payton would, when it got to the time where he'd lower his shoulder and he'd deliver a blow on the tackler. And you don't really see that much.
Right. And with Gale, some people say that he was such a workhorse, and the Bears really worked him. And was it because he worked so hard? Did that shorten his career? Do you think?
No, that's not what shortened his career. What shortened his career was the guy, medical people.
Well,
you get my drift.
I got it. I read tea leaves.
and the same thing, I experienced. So, no, it wasn't because he was
Working.
No. I mean, he did. Nowadays you don't see guys running back punts and kickoffs and being a regular running back, and he did it all. So.
I looked at a video yesterday of a guy that was interviewing you, and he said something to the effect of, he says, you really hit hard. And you say, yeah, well, when I hit him, I want them to know when they come up off the ground, I don't want them to wonder who hit him. I want them to know that it was me. And I fell out laughing. I said, okay, so you were serious. It's like, okay, you're going to know I got a special hit for you.
Well, you know where that came from, because at CBS, I was a fullback. And when people, would hit me hard, and that usually would be when they would grab me high and like bear hug me and throw me down because I didn't have my hand to break my fall. So that's why I always try to tackle in a bear hug and put my face mask right in your throat and then drive you and put you on your back.
Right in your throat. I like that. Be graphic. I love that.
Yeah,
And for those that don't know, CVS, Chicago Vocational
yes.
High School on the south side of Chicago. You got to be a Chicagoan to know that. And so if you had to compare yourself to one of the guys today, who would you most compare yourself to?
Today?
we know they're not you, but
No,
just
no,
if you
I
had to.
was trying to think. A guy like Keekley, of course, he's not playing anymore. Roquan, if he starts, nailing some more people.
But
I mean, he's an every down player, I think, and some guys like that, yeah.
okay. And so, speaking of Walter Payton, so you were an analyst by the time he was playing, correct? You
Right.
were
Yeah.
actually calling the game that he was playing in the '85 game, right?
Yeah.
And was Ron was in that game as well, right? Because I think he was drafted in '84, so Ron would have he had been in that game also. That
Ron Rivera?
yes,
Yeah, I think
I think he was
playing.
in that game. And so everyone asked the same question. I sent a little email out and says, okay, guys, if you guys have one question, everybody wants the same question. You know what that is? Do you think that they should have pulled out Walter Payton and put in Refrigerator Perry for the touch? Nobody cares about for some reason.
Because I was there doing the announcing. It never ever dawned on me that he didn't score a touchdown, and that I never thought that or reason why everybody was so upset about that. They use fridge mostly, all through the year, and okay, it's a Super Bowl. It didn't even dawn on me. I mean, we were up there.
Sure.
Okay, he comes in, blah blah blah, and then after the game, we're still up there in the box, and we're getting feedback that Walter's kind of upset or whatever. I never understood what all that big deal was, and he had Mike did that, because of what the 49ers did to the Bears the year before they started getting real good. They put in a big guy to run at fullback.
Okay.
So
I'll tell my cousin that because this has been haunting him for many years.
Yeah. Then when Mike discovered Perry, he started using him. That wasn't the only game either. He used him a lot. But it's a shame that okay, Walter didn't pay. It shouldn't tarnish anything Walter did or anything
Absolutely.
else. You know what I mean?
People get funny about Pinnacle.
And that's such a big deal now. And no one ever knows that much about the second, the team they had lost. You know what I mean? Like they used to make fun of the Bills. They were there 4 times in a row,
right.
And they lost them all.
Right.
I mean, come on. Talking about some
right.
bad feelings.
Right. That's always the bridesmaid, huh?
That's it.
So Walter Payton. So this is the 21st anniversary of the scholarship golf classic, and they've given away to date 96 scholarships.
Right.
When you think of that legacy, what does that mean?
Well, I think it's just what everybody thought of him, and a way to honor him is to participate in his foundation. It's helping a lot of kids get their education, whereas they probably never would have a chance. So it's good to have that, and doing it everything in good taste, and you want to remember the guy. The guy was a great guy. So he helped a lot of people, probably unknowns to a lot of people. To me, it was just like Gail. He was very quiet. Well, he's not quiet like Gail was quiet. Walter used to fool around all the time. I mean, with me too. He pulled some stuff on me, and I already know him. I'm like, what the heck? Anyway, but he's got this thing going. The family's doing a good job with it, and it's helping people. It's
so can you tell us a couple memorable moments about just if you had to think back and someone says, what do you remember about Walter Payton? What would you say?
I just I'd remember a couple of his runs, and when he broke the record, he stopped the game, I believe it was. He'd always be pinching you in the wherever you're at. You know, I'm like, I didn't know you that well. You know what I mean? He had a sense of humor, which you never think of. You know, and I constantly heard stories about him at the mayor's office. You know, taking over for the receptionist.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
answering the phone, and directing.
Did he say
everybody.
hello, sweetness here?
So he had a heck of a sense of humor.
I've asked a couple of other individuals that we've interviewed that Jim Brown said he never ever would comment on any football players, but he commented on Walter Payton, and he always said, you know, how he was one of the greatest of all times. Why do you think Jim Brown, who never comments on any other players, had so many wonderful things to say about Walter Payton?
Well, it's probably because he thought it was true. You know, he was a great runner, and you know, a lot of you know, just like you asked me, you know, who do you think plays like you today? You know, that's kind of hard for someone to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I duck it and just pull names out or whatever. You know, because deep down, if I don't know that person, I don't know how much he loves the game like I did, how much work he puts into it, you know, nowadays especially. So I can see Jim Brown saying, you know, because I mean, if you ask me who is the best that I played against, it's definitely Jim Brown. And he was that good. And okay, he's gonna. I don't know if it's hard for him to comment on who was second best or what did you think. So when he talks about Walter, I would take it as a gesture of respect.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know his daughter. She's actually playing football also.
Really?
Yes.
What's become of the game of football?
I'm not even going to tell you then that I just bought a women's franchise then, huh? A football
Football?
franchise.
Oh my God. Gee.
There's a whole 18 of us out here. But that's for next time. We'll
Okay.
talk about that next time because I don't want you to jump on me. He said, what's happening with the game of football? So what would you say to some of these younger guys? You're doing, I'm sure, philanthropy. Walter's doing philanthropy. And I talked to a lot of guys who, Merrill Hodge, I interviewed Merrill a couple weeks ago. And we were talking about the up and coming guys and their ways to start their own philanthropic foundations and give back. What would you say to them? I know Merrill said that they should be doing more in the community. What do you think?
Well, I think it's hard to just tell somebody that you ought to be doing this. They've got to be able to figure out, you know, what are they close to? What touched me when I was going through my career? Was it the high school coach? Was it the neighborhood cop? Was it this or that? And if he finds and strikes a chord that, hey, this is what really saved me, this cop really saved me, well then I would do something with the police department and sort of get something going there. You know, everybody knows that cancer is bad. Okay, we all know that, and there's a lot of probably foundations for that, and that's all good and well. But they, you know, and of course, this is if they want to. They're making so much money today, but they don't probably realize it as such that they're. Is the right thing to do, and you know, I see like Gronkowski. He's got, I don't know, Michael Strahan. I don't know where he has any free time at all.
Right.
I mean, he's on everything.
Right. Every
And
show.
hopefully, he's got some charitable aspects that he's involved in. So, you know, you just can't tell a kid, hey, you're going to start a foundation, and why don't you start this one because it's, you know, whatever. It's got to be soul searching time for them, and I think I don't know, but maybe they do that at maybe rookie meetings when they bring in all the rookies the first time, and they tell them. You know, about your taxes. You know, you got to pay taxes. You better have a guy that can do that for you, and you know, whatever. Just because you're getting $1,000 doesn't mean that's $1,000 that you can take and go blow. I mean, cut it in half, maybe. So and the same thing should be with charitable operations. And maybe they do that. I don't know.
And thank you. I really appreciate that, because that was actually going to be my question, and you answered it in advance. Was what advice would you give to some of these young rookies out here now? If you gave us some information, but is there anything else that you'd like to say to them?
Well, I would just be careful on who they deal with, because there are some people that, it's a sad deal. After their career, they're busted, and they've been taken somewhere along the line. So you've got to find some people that really are looking out for you, whether that starts with the family or whatever. But you really got to be careful, and especially now, because everything is so easy. I mean, to make that kind of money, I mean, the endorsements, and plus the exposure. Everybody's got these cell phones. I mean, thank heaven they weren't around when I was going around.
They would have been,
parties
getting
stuff.
oh my God, you did wild parties?
Well, they were wild compared to today.
I'm just teasing.
There weren't many victory parties when I was playing, so it was more like, drown their sorrows away. So.
Okay. So speaking of that, though, was the '85 Bears the best team? Do you think that was the best Bears team?
Oh, the best Bear team, without a doubt. I'm pretty close to they're the best team ever. And the reason I say that is that, okay, we all know about their defense, but their offense scored a lot of points, and nobody. I don't remember. I'm doing the games, and everybody's talking about the defense, but the offense really did a good job also. All phases of their three, the kicking game and everything, they had it all together, and they had a list of characters. Yeah, I'd say they're right up there. A lot of people will say, well, teams.
Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, that was Walter and Ron and Maurice.
Yep.
So is there anything else that you would like to say, or anything else that you're involved in? I'm excited that you'll be back to golf with us on August 21st and 22nd. Are you going to golf while you're here
No, I can't play.
No?
No, I got a problem with my feet and neuropathy, and I'm like,
So you're going to...
It's like I'm drinking all the time.
Well, guess what? You're in the right place. We got plenty of drinks when
Yeah.
you're here in Vegas. If there's nothing else, we have plenty of. Well,
All right.
Thank you so much for
All
your
right.
time today.
Cool.
And I'm very excited to have you here. And we'll see you guys on August 21st and 22nd. And Mr. Butkus will be back here. And we're going to be drinking margaritas. And we'll see you guys there. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Cool.
That was excellent. That was excellent.